Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Bet the Over. I'm your host, Kevbo, and in this episode, we're going to be recapping the end of free agency. I know it's not technically over, but the Giants have signed basically all the players they're probably going to go after. There might be a guard or another corner signed within the next couple weeks or months, but as of right now, I think most of these signings are done. So let's get right into it. One guy that just signed recently this past week that I didn't go over in the last video was wide receiver Darnell Mooney. He's coming over from Atlanta. Darnell Mooney, I think, is a pretty good wide receiver too. He definitely has a lot of upside. They gave him a 1 year, $10 million deal, so he's getting paid pretty well. I mean, it's not an absolute crazy contract, but it's kind of a 1 year prove it deal. He's been very inconsistent. 2 years ago with Atlanta, he looked great. He beat 900 yards. I think he had like 950. Last year, he was pretty injured. And then I feel his whole career has kind of been inconsistent. I remember on Chicago, there'd be some games where he looked great and he was ascending. He looked like the next great wide receiver, top 15, top 20 wide receiver in the league. Next week, he'd come out and drop 20 yards. So, like I said, inconsistent, but overall great signing. I think he's definitely going to be the wide receiver too. He's going to start over Slayton, and he'll maybe relieve some pressure off Malik. Hopefully Malik's back fully for week 1. I think he is on pace to be back for week 1, but great signing by Darnell Mooney. I'll give that one a B minus. Solid, nothing too crazy. Next guy we signed was Calvin Austin. His contract was 1 year, $4.5 million. He's coming over from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Calvin Austin, he's a burner. He's not going to play most of the snaps, I'd say, on offense. I mean, he'll get some snaps here and there. They might put him in the slot for the season. In that case, he would get a lot more snaps, but he's really just a deep threat, vertical stretcher. He's going to be good on special teams as well because he can return punts or kicks. So him and I think Deonte Banks might split that role. That's the one thing Deonte Banks is actually pretty good at. So overall, it's more of a depth signing, but I give Calvin Austin probably a C plus. Like I said, he has his moments where he plays pretty well. I think given more opportunity, he could be a better wide receiver. He only had like 500 yards last year. So I think he could probably get like 700 yards if the team or the opportunity share is there. Next guy, familiar face here to the Giants. The Giants signed Jason Pinnock to a 1 year contract valued around $1.2 million. So Pinnock was on the team 2 years ago. Last year, he signed a 1 year deal with the 49ers. I don't think he got much playing time. He's more of the depth piece, even on the Giants, whose secondary isn't very good. But he's back. He understands the team. I mean, most of the defensive coordinator and most of the coaches are kind of different, but he's coming back to a familiar place. Overall, it's just depth. The Giants definitely need some more pieces in the secondary, specifically corner. I know they added Newsome last week, which was a good signing as well. But if Newsome goes down, their second corner is really, I think it would either be Deonte Banks or let's see, Art Green probably, or maybe Corey Black. So those aren't people you could really rely on to play consistent snaps. So definitely need to get a couple more depth pieces. But the Pinnock signing, I give a C plus or C minus. He's just depth at this point. And then next guy, this is one of the bigger signings, Patrick Ricard, fullback, best fullback in the league. I think CJ Ham is that. Juszczyk is probably better, but second best fullback in the league. Signing a deal coming over from Baltimore. The New York Ravens signed him to a 2 year, $7.63 million deal. So he gets, what is that, $3.8 million. Now, this signing, I think, kind of clues at what type of offense the Giants are going to be. I think Harbaugh is going to want to be a run-first offense, similar to how he was in Baltimore. They had the most rushing yards in the league over the past 3 years. I mean, with the two-headed monster and Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, having Ricard out in front, lead blocking for Derrick Henry was a recipe for success. And I think the Giants are going to implement that into their offense, having Ricard and then Cam Scatterboo behind him. That's going to be a crazy duo, and that's going to be a very physical run game if Scat comes back 100%. We got to see that. Obviously, his ankle was not facing the right way against the Eagles last game he played, so we got to hope he comes back 100%. But this signing also is interesting because does it tip Harbaugh's hand that he is actually targeting another running back either in free agency or in the draft? Because the Giants were rumored to look for a running back this season. I know they supposedly offered for Kenneth Walker, but they ended up not signing it. He signed a pretty big deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. They weren't in on ETN, or at least I didn't hear of. So it could be a sign that the Giants are looking to sign another running back with Ricard, because like I said, they're going to be a run first team. Look out for Jeremiah Love, I guess, on pick number 5. I don't think that's the most important need as of right now. You have Tyrone Tracy, who's coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. You have Scattaboo, who might not be 100%, but if he comes back and he needs some time, you do have Singletary, who restructured his contract. So he's a solid running back, too. He's not a workhorse like Scattaboo or another running back you would like. Harbaugh is kind of that workhorse, one running back type of guy where he just gets all the carries. Look at Derrick Henry again. He would average 25, 30 carries a game or 20 carries a game. Justice Hill would come in to back him up every once in a while, but he really liked one guy carrying the bulk of the carries. And Scattaboo and Tracy wouldn't be those two type of back, that one back that could carry the load. It'd be more of a split backfield. So that's why people are speculating that Jeremiah Love would be that single back, 3 down back, carry the load, 20, 30 touches a game. And he brings a explosive element that I don't think Tracy or Scattaboo kind of bring to the team. But I don't think that the Giants should target Jeremiah Love. I think they should either draft Caleb Downs, they should draft Sonny Styles, or they should go wide receiver 2 and Carnell Tate. Basically, any of the Ohio State guys I'd be happy with. But another scenario that I think could be interesting to look at would be a trade down. The Giants don't have a third-round pick. They traded away their third this year for Jackson Dart last year, which in hindsight looks like a great move, but they are missing a third-round pick. So it is speculated they'll trade down. If Jeremiah Love is there, one team might want to move up and snag him. I thought the Chiefs would be an interesting team that would want to trade up, but as of now, they signed Kenneth Walker, so that looks like that's out of the question. But there's probably a team lower on the draft board that could use a running back and really put their team over the top. You think of it'd be more of a contending team. I mean, Seattle would be one that would look for it. However, the Giants would be trading back like 30 spots or whatever, 27 spots. So that's probably unrealistic. But a team that's kind of one piece away I could see them trading up with the Giants, like contenders, maybe like, I don't know if Buffalo would really qualify, maybe the Bengals, although they haven't looked too good. You could think of the Rams, although they're low down the board too. So it's an interesting theory. I would love to see it happen because I think acquiring more capital would be beneficial for the team. They still have a couple holes. They got guard, safety, wide receiver 2, kind of, because Mooney's only on a 1-year deal. They could get another running back and a defensive tackle as well. So they definitely still have holes on this roster. So trading back could plug a couple of those holes and you can get more value in the future. But I don't think they'll do it just because trading back, you have to find a partner. And like I said, if a team's not really interested in Jeremiah Love, then no one I don't think would trade up with the Giants at pick number 5. So now I'm just going to quickly go through the roster after free agency. Like I said, it's not completely over, but this is what we got at this point of time. We got Jackson Darts, QB1, Jameis Winston as the backup. Russell Wilson, I think, is still a free agent, so he's out there. Some team can pick him up if they would like. Cam Scattaboo at running back 1. Got to see how his surgery and offseason went, depending on if he'll be back for week 1 or training camp. We shall see. I think he's on pace to return, but who knows? His injury was pretty gruesome. You got Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary at running back 3, who I think is one of the best third running backs in the league. He's solid. He's not fantastic, but he's good. Malik Neighbors, wide receiver 1, absolute dog. Hopefully he comes back 100%. I think he'll be back week 1, but ACLs are kind of tricky. You never know, but he looks like he's on pace right now. Calvin Austin is probably his backup. Darius Slayton still on the team, even though he's not a fan favorite to anyone. I think he's hated amongst the Giants community. We got Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 2 now. Isaiah Hodgins, who was a sneaky re-sign. When he's given opportunity, he produces. I mean, he's not going to give you 1,000-yard season, but he's a reliable third down guy, bigger wide receiver, good at route running, physical. I like the Hodgins re-signing. I think the Giants should have been starting Hodgins like all of last year, basically. I don't know why Slayton was starting over him or even Jalen Hyatt, but he's back. Isaiah Likely, new tight ends, tight end 1. Theo Johnson, Isaiah Likely is an interesting combo. Theo Johnson's more of that physical freak. He's tall. He's pretty fast too. Isaiah Likely's the more well-rounded tight end. He can block. He can catch. He does whatever you need him to do. He's a great player, and he's still young. I loved that signing in the offseason. And he wasn't. I mean, you paid a hefty price, but he wasn't absurdly expensive. So that was a good signing. Got Pat Richard, great run blocker, going to help the run game a lot. You got Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, Aaron Stinney, who's currently our right guard, I think starting right guard. So definitely need to upgrade that. John Michael Schmitz, he's up and down, and definitely hasn't lived up to the hype of being a early second round pick, but hopefully he can keep building. He has gotten better, so that's promising. Jermaine Illuminor, best signing of the offseason for the Giants. They got him on a team-friendly deal. One of the best right tackles in the league, top 5, I'd say. Great pass blocking. Run blocking is just okay, but great pass blocker. Keeping Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor was big. 2 great tackles, and you can really build the inside out now. Defense got Darius Alexander, who played well during the season. He was only a third-round pick or a second-round pick, but we need some improvement out of him, specifically in the run defense department. Dexter Lawrence, he needs to get motivated. He needs to be back to 2024. Dexter Lawrence, 2023. Basically just not last year. He was so good every other year besides last year. Roy Robertson Harris, he's not very good. Elijah Chapman, definitely need to upgrade in the defensive tackle room. We got Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, the 2 great pass rushers. Abdul Carter, a little underwhelming. Picked it up last season. Hopefully he can build off of that. Tremaine Edmonds, big offseason signing. I think they paid a decent price for him. I think it was $12 million, so a little bit more than what they were paying Bobby Okereke, but he's better than Okereke. He's a little bit better in coverage, and he's just as good at stopping the run, which the Giants struggled mightily with. Re-signed Mike McFadden, great deal, 1-year prove-it deal. He's coming off a significant injury, but if he can come back, he can definitely produce. I love McFadden. I hope he comes back and he's solid and they give him like a couple more years because he's pretty cheap and he's a solid player. Kayvon Thibodeau is an interesting piece. There's speculation he's going to get traded. We shall see. I think it'd be more of like a draft night trade. If they got rid of him, maybe for a defensive tackle or a corner or guard, I would like it. I think he hasn't lived up to his hype. He's a good player, but he was taken 5th overall. It was either 5th or 7th. It was between him and Evan Neal. So whichever pick he was, he hasn't lived up to that hype, but he's been a good player, just not what you wanted him to be. Cornerbacks, we got Paulson Adebo, Greg Newsome, Deontay Banks, Art Green, and Corey Black. Those are kind of our starting corners. Like I said, you're 1 injury to Paulson Adebo or Greg Newsome, and you got Corey Black or Deontay Banks out there. Definitely not reliable corner 2s. Definitely need to sign some more depth pieces there. Tyler Newman, Javon Holland at free safety, Jason Pinnock, some depth. Ardarius Washington was also signing some depth there. And then Drew Phillips at nickel corner. Nick Jones is the backup. And then you got Jason Sanders and Mr. Stout, highest yards per punt in the league last year. Sanders is also a good kicker. He's going to compete with Ben Sauls. I don't know why Graham Gano is still here. Cut him off the team. He's got to go or restructure his contract. Kick returners, they got Gunnar Olszewski, and they also will now have, I think, Calvin Austin or No, it's not Cal. Yeah, it is Calvin Austin. I get him and Tavon Austin mixed up all the time. One of them two are going to return the kicks. So overall, I think the Giants had a solid offseason. I'd give it final score, although they could sign a couple more players. But as of right now, I give it a B minus. I think all of their moves made sense. The only guy that might not have made sense was Evan Neal. That's one thing. It was kind of weird that they signed him because it seemed like they were done. But the reason I'm not too upset about it is because they signed him to a minimum deal. I think he's getting like $1.2 million. So if you can get any sort of value out of Evan Neal, that's a good signing. Although he has not looked very good so far, I would love to see him turn it around. It was just kind of weird because he told the fans to go flip burgers. Meanwhile, they re-signed him to a contract. But anyway, that's it for the video. Comment down below what you guys think the Giants did well, what they didn't really address. Give me your final score. Give me an A, B, C, or D. And then comment down below what you think their draft plan is going to be because, like I said, there's kind of holes on this team, but you think they're going to stay at 5, stick and pick, maybe Sonny Styles, Caleb Down. Those kind of look like the top 2 choices right there. Or if they trade down, who's going to trade up with them? And what do you think they're going to get in return? So thanks for tuning in, everyone. And remember, bet the over.